Hello, friends. I am John, and I am the 3D 80s kid. Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 22. In this episode, I'll be doing another video response. This one is for RJ Collects Sets. Now, for his 300 subscriber giveaway, he has asked us to do something a little different than other VRs. We are supposed to focus on the content that's on the back of cards.
So what's written on the back?
And as you can see, I've been focusing on the backs of cards lately. So
total focus and a lot of hard work.
now he has asked us to take a look at specifically one player that no one's probably ever heard of, one veteran player, and one Hall of Fame player.
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
For this, I decided to actually focus on one of the sets I collected as a kid. During those years, I was actually a set collector. While if you've been watching any of my videos, I am kind of focusing with my vintage on Hall of Famers and star players.
Good choices.
Don't have enough physical space, I feel like, at this point to get into set collecting. And so reaching back into one of my old binders, I decided to take a closer look at my favorite set as a kid, which was the 1985 Fleer set.
Beautiful.
And the first player I'm going to take a deep dive on the back here for y'all is Mr. Doug Frobel of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Who the hell is that?
The key items I saw of note was a couple things. First of all, the guy is an outfielder and has a career average that is hovering over the Mendoza line. I took a little deeper dive on Wikipedia to see where he finally ended up for his career stats, and his career batting average ended up at 201, which, if you're keeping track with Mr. Mendoza there, he actually finished at 215, and he actually had the defensive skills to play shortstop, while this guy, fun fact, was actually Pittsburgh's intended replacement for the Cobra, Dave Parker, in right field. That didn't pan out so well, as he ended up having far more strikeouts than hits for his career to go along with that 201 average. But the other item I just caught here on the card was that it says he's one of the few Canadian baseball players in the major league.
You're from Canada, eh?
And that led me to then another quest for information. I was wondering how many Canadian-born Hall of Famers are there. So that is a trivia question I'm throwing out to anybody.
I love trivia.
Can you name the Canadian-born Hall of Famers? I will have the answer later in the video.
I can hardly wait.
The next player I wanted to highlight is one that I showed in my Beautiful Cards VR again, Mr. Tom Foley. He's kind of in between being someone you haven't heard of and a veteran. He did hang around for a while as a utility infield player with the playing most of his games at shortstop, but also doing some duty at second base and third base. So clearly the defensive skills are primarily what kept him around the major leagues.
Yeah, you've got some skills.
Back there, sentence there was the one I keyed on, in that he is ambidextrous, and in high school, while he plays baseball throwing right-handed, he was actually the left-handed starting quarterback of the football team.
Say what?
Which is simply fascinating to me that he would have thrown a football left-handed, but throws everything in baseball right-handed. My veteran player that I selected was Carney Lansford of the Oakland A's. And the interesting tidbit I pulled off of the back of his card was that he is a direct descendant of Sir Francis Drake, which then got me into the research of what did Sir Francis Drake actually do and why is his name familiar to everyone. So on that note, that's kind of one of these characters in history that he could be a hero or a villain, depending on what side you're
He's a slaver. He's a pirate.
He's a hero.
on. If you are British, he is seemingly a hero, because what Sir Francis Drake ended up doing was basically state approved piracy. He would attack Spanish ships. He would attack Spanish ports, especially in the colonies, because they had done many of the colonies in across the Atlantic, and he would be targeting them, stealing things, and paying homage then to the English monarchy.
It was an early investment.
He really was an asshole.
He was an asshole.
And so he gained favor with them. One of the other famous parts for Sir Francis Drake was that he was the leader of the second successful circumnavigation of the globe, and which took place about almost 60 years after Magellan's crew made it, and did lots of plundering of things on that trip as well.
Greedy much?
Ended up basically buying his way almost into knighthood in England.
Riley.
Right. Deadly, amoral, opportunistic.
And becoming almost aristocracy at that point, being able to be in Parliament in his old age. But apparently that life was a little boring, so he went back to raiding and pillaging Spanish settlements.
Doing what he liked to do best.
In the mostly in the Caribbean area, and eventually died of dysentery, which seems to always happen to me on the Oregon Trail. But
Even though I immediately died of dysentery.
last card I want to show is the Hall of Famer that I selected. One of the struggles I found with this set is that with the vertical design of the card, that any Hall of Famer that had already played a significant number of years, you ended up losing the "did you know" little section of, factual tidbits, because they just have too many years of service for it to fit. And besides that, almost all of the Hall of Famer type caliber players, all the "did you know" sections are so focused on just their amazing statistics, which, I mean, you can already get from the upper areas of the card if you just look through their stats.
I mean, yeah, duh.
So it was a little disappointing, actually, on the Hall of Famer front of the information in this set. But one thing that sort of struck me funny was for "did you know" for Cal Ripken Jr. On the back of his card, the "did you know" is highlighting the fact that at this point he had successfully completed 2 consecutive years of not missing a game, kind of highlighting that as a big deal, which, is kind of quaint, considering the fact that then he went on to 15 consecutive seasons of not missing a game.
15!
So there we go. Cal Ripken Jr. is my Hall of Famer. And now, going back to my trivia question.
It's about time.
Did any of you Name the Canadian-born Hall of Famers.
I did.
There are two, and they are Ferguson Jenkins, who was not around anymore for the 85 Fleer set, so I went back to 84 to grab this, his last season card there. And the other Canadian-born Hall of Famer is a bit more recent, and here is his 1990 Leaf rookie card, Larry Walker. There you go, two Canadian-born Hall of Famers. Sorry. There's some of the backs of the cards for this VR.
Oh, you should be sorry.
And here's what I was saying typically happens with these Fleer cards with the vertical approach. If they've got a lot of years, then there's no room for that whole little did you know section. So thanks, RJ, for putting this VR out there. Congratulations on 300 subscribers. Everyone, thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.
Okay, kids,